forces spotted. Enemy cars, enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy identified. Do you copy? Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy forces spotted.
Hostile on the road. Hostile on the road. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy forces
Enemy
over.
activity. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy vehicle. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy units on the move.
Hostile
Hostile on the road.
forces spotted.
Hostile on the
Over.
road. Hostile on the road. Hostile on the road.
Damn it. Sorry, man. Enemy forces spotted.
Sniper! Enemy units on the move.
Enemy forces spotted.
Running dry.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted. Forces spotted.
Enemy
troops identified. Do you copy? Sorry.
Enemy troops.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
We got hostile armor.
Outpost enemy forces over.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy helicopter. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV online and
Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move.
Outpost is being overrun.
Enemy.
Hostile enemy troops identified. Enemy helicopter spotted. Over.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy cars spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy tank is inbound. Over.
transmitting oxygen.
All clear. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
We got hostile armor.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Ammo.
Enemy forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
Enemy tank is inbound. Over. Thanks. I owe you one.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces. Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy car spotted.
Online and transmitting.
10-4. Vehicle spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Snipers on our perimeter. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
Enemy units on the move.
Hostile chopper over. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter. Enemy
tank is inbound. Over.
Enemy forces spotted.
Over.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Forces spotted.
Enemy tank.
Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Hostile flick inbound. Enemy truck inbound. Over.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. We've lost control of an outpost.
Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy units on the move. I'm bingo on ammo. Enemy units on the move.
Enemy helicopter. Enemy forces spotted.
Hostile APC.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy sniper. Enemy infantry. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry.
Hostile sniper spotted.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV is bingo on fuel. Transmission ending.
Enemy troops.
Enemy infantry. Enemy foot
Hostile
move.
armor
Hostile
sniper spotted.
Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy spotted. Do you copy? Hostile
Enemy forces infantry spotted.
Infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy units.
Enemy infantry spotted. Let's move.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile enemy unit. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy helicopter spotted.
Hostile snipers on our perimeter.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
Running dry. Enemy tank is inbound. Hostile armor.
Enemy spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy hostile forces spotted. Enemy car spotted. Enemy units on the move.
Ammo right here. Ammo right here.
No can do.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Running dry. Need ammo.
Online
Over.
and transmitting.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Enemy troops. Enemy forces over. Enemy units on the move. We got hostile armor.
Enemy infantry
Enemy
spotted.
troops.
Enemy spotted. Enemy forces spotted. We've lost control of an outpost.
We got hostile
Enemy
armor.
infantry spotted.
Over.
UAV
Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces
troops
spotted.
identified. Do you copy?
Enemy forces.
Enemy units on the move. Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy infantry.
I owe you one.
Enemy armor spotted.
Enemy tank is inbound.
Enemy
Over.
infantry. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy activity.
Roger that.
Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy car spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy
forces spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity.
Enemy forces spotted. Over. Enemy spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy tank is inbound. Over. Do you copy? Enemy tank is inbound. Over. We got hostile forces.
Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted. Supplies at your position.
Hostile armor sighted. Over. Enemy troops. Hostiles on the ground.
Online and transmitting.
Enemy vehicle. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Enemy forces spotted. Vehicle dropped in your sector.
Enemy vehicle. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move.
Enemy helicopter spotted. position under control. Out. Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy helicopter spotted.
Thanks, champ. Enemy troop!
UAV transmitting.
Enemy
I owe you
infantry
one.
spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted.
Thanks, champ. Enemy troop! Enemy activity.
Negative.
Sniper!
No can do.
Enemy units on the
Enemy forces spotted.
No one
Sniper! Enemy troop!
10-4.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Enemy units on the move.
UAV online.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks, champ. Enemy troop! Enemy units on the move. Hostile on the road.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
We got hostile armor.
Enemy helicopter
Enemy
spotted.
troop!
Enemy helicopter spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Sniper!
Negative.
Sniper! Enemy activity. Enemy units on the move. Hostiles on the ground. Enemy forces spotted. Over.
We've lost enemy car spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry. Enemy forces.
Enemy troop! Sniper! Enemy troop! Enemy troop! Sniper! Sniper! Hostiles on the ground.
Negative can do.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Enemy units on the move.
Enemy forces over.
Enemy vehicle.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
UAV transmitting.
Sniper!
Enemy helicopter.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
Hostile on the road.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
Sniper! Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy hostile on the road.
Enemy forces over.
Enemy tank is inbound.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy armor spotted.
We need support. Do you copy?
Online and transmitting.
Hostiles on the ground.
Artillery, your area.
Enemy troop.
Enemy forces spotted.
We got hostile armor.
Enemy helicopter spotted. Over.
Sniper.
Enemy helicopter spotted.
Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy forces spotted.
Diesel on ammo. Do you copy?
Hostile armor sight.
Enemy diesel on ammo. Do you copy? Enemy troop.
Enemy APC
Enemy
spotted.
troop.
UAV online.
Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Hostile APC. We got hostile armor.
Negatory.
Enemy troop.
Hostile forces. Over.
Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy forces.
Negatory. Enemy vehicle. Hostiles on the ground.
44 over. Okay. Enemy infantry.
Running dry.
Enemy forces spotted.
Transmitting.
Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy forces over.
Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy armor spotted.
Sniper. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Negative. No can do. Enemy car spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
We got hostile enemy units on the move.
Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Running dry.
Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy forces spotted.
I'm bingo on ammo. Do you copy? Enemy troops!
Enemy identified. Enemy spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostiles on the ground.
Hey,
Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move.
hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy armor spotted. Hostile chopper. Over. Over. We've lost control of an outpost.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy APC. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Thanks, Jim. Enemy unit. Enemy troops. Got it. On the ground.
Artillery, your area.
Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over.
Spotted. Vehicle spotted. Over.
Hostiles on the ground. Sniper. Enemy troops.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Enemy units on the move.
Forces spotted. Over. Under control.
Enemy troops.
Enemy car spotted. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified.
Enemy troops. Enemy activity.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Enemy troops. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move.
Enemy helicopter. Over. We've lost control of an outpost.
Running dry. Need ammo.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?